Here is the old music player computer. This used to be a Dell Dimension 3000. Now it's a Dell Dime Ion 3000. It's a fairly low spec machine. Has an Intel Celeron chip and maybe 512 megabytes of memory, if that. But it got the job done. It ran Spotify and it played music just fine. Up until Spotify stopped servicing Windows XP. And since this is something I use every day, I just grabbed some other random box I had set up and put it up under here. This is a Dell, it's a Lenovo ThinkCenter. It's a little bit of a newer unit built for Windows 7. It has an i5 chip and so forth. Though interestingly, it really doesn't run any faster than the other one did. But I'd much rather have the Dell Dime Ion, even though this Lenovo unit works okay. So I found out recently there is a third-party client available that will play Spotify under Windows XP. I did try it on one of my other XP machines and it worked perfectly. So we're going to try it on here and see if it's a viable solution for however long it will continue to work. So we're going to go ahead and plug in this computer. I've already disconnected most of the plugs from here. I think that we might have to change out the power cord because this Lenovo uses a brick. And actually, yeah, it's not a standard AC cord, so we'll have to change out the power cord, but everything else should just be a transfer over of the plugs. So to save time on the video, I'll deal with that later, and I'll just grab the all the plugs out here for the peripherals and so forth, the display. Where is the video? I'm going to have to redo all these cables anyways if I switch to the other computer, so it's not a big deal. Alright, I grabbed the, here it is, power cord. I haven't used this machine since I had to swap it out, but I suspect that this will power up just fine. Maybe a dead CMOS battery or something like that at worst. These were very good machines. Very, very reliable hardware. I never had any trouble with this thing while I was using it here. Worked every time. Our display cable's a little bit short. Okay, it's all plugged up. Put the power in here. I really don't think that anything interesting is going to happen, but let's see. Everything seems copacetic. The monitor, the power button is broken, so it's just always on. Heard the drive spin up, the fan spun up, and there it goes, working like nothing ever happened. Can't beat this old stuff. It's so much more reliable. Okay. Keyboard and mouse are not ready yet. Okay, I got lights on the keyboard. No light on the mouse yet. Got a light on the mouse. Cursor is moving. Keyboard is typing. I think that the sound card in this computer is much better than the sound card in the Lenovo one. Alright, so first thing that we're going to do is uninstall Spotify, because it's not going to work anyways, and it unfortunately never will. And you have to draw something over the entire screen to get it to go away. So we'll go here, and we're going to do an uninstall of Spotify. See if I can get this to be more centered on the screen. I find that this GoPro camera records the computer screen very nicely. And we're also going to uninstall VLC1 because this solution that I'm going to implement requires VLC 3.8, I believe. I just have to say, I think that this is the best skin that Microsoft ever produced. The buttons, everything is three-dimensional. It's so rich and lifelike. It's just a joy to look at and use. Everything pushes down like it's an actual button. It's great. I don't know why we've gone away from that type of design. Let's see. We have MyPal 29, which we're not going to be using that anymore either because there's a new version. So we'll take that off, we'll replace that with the new one. Okay. We'll leave the Google's Chrome, we'll leave the Firefox, even though I seldom use it anymore. And that's that as far as the uninstall. So I've got some programs on a flash drive here. Go ahead and stick in this flash drive to the computer. And that seems to be working. No surprise. Okay, there's our new hardware installed and ready to use. So we're going to go in here and we need, we'll grab the new MyPal. We'll grab Superminium, which is a browser I recently tried and have had very good success with here on Windows XP. Okay, I grab Superminium. Oh, and for those that are curious to what the actual spec is on this thing, it is only a 256 meg, 2.6 gigahertz Celeron. So I should really throw another couple sticks of memory in there because that would improve the performance significantly. And then here's our folder for this new Spotify program. So this program is, I guess it's a Java thing. Oh, that was terrible. That was a terrible sound. It's a Java, whatever. I don't know programming at all, so I don't even know what it's called. But it's a Java unit that somebody wrote and published. So go to I'm going to put a link in the description to this individual's, I don't know if it's his website or what it is, but where it comes from, and it cites his work. Go take a look at that project and give the traffic, give the site some traffic, because this guy deserves a lot of credit for this. This is offered at no cost as like a hobby project, and it's absolutely incredible. It is 100% functional. It's got all the features. It's amazing. So let's go ahead and open this up. And we have to install a couple of prerequisites here. We need to install this, which is a Windows installer package. It's knowledge base 942288-V3. Okay, and it wants a reboot after that. I know I have to have some memory somewhere that would work in this machine, so we'll do that just to speed it up a little bit. It generally was okay with Spotify. I mean, it wasn't blazing fast, but it ran pretty much fine. I don't know how heavy this Java thing is. I suspect it's probably lighter weight than the actual unit itself, the actual Spotify program itself. But I don't know, maybe not. I guess we'll see how it runs. I tested it on well, compared to this, a modern Core 2 chip of 4 gigabytes of memory, and it worked pretty good. This gets going, shuts down and everything much faster than the that Lenovo unit does, which is kind of pathetic. So after that, we need, let me delete this so I don't lose track of what we're doing here. We need this version of LVC. And I just did a default because I don't know what components in particular it is that this uses. And I'm going to turn on air conditioner even though it's going to be noisy because it's getting too hot and the dog is, I can tolerate it, the dog is flipping out here. The dog does not like the heat at all. It's 78/35 in here, which is totally fine for me, but she needs like 65 to be comfortable, which is kind of ridiculous, but that's the way it is. I have a feeling that this might not work too good on this machine because of the RAM. Because on that other unit, this install went right through real quick, and this is taking some time. And I can see the drive activity is just solid, so it's probably page filing. Is the clock accurate? I don't think that it's 7 o'clock. No, that is 7 o'clock. So even the time is kept all these months that it was sitting there. The time even kept. Alright, let's open this up just to make sure that it worked. I don't want updates because I don't want the version to ever change. Okay, so now we have to install this Java. Before we do that, I'm going to go to the My Computer folder. I'm going to go into the program files and I'm going to create a new folder for this to exist in. just going to go ahead and copy the contents of this into here. So now we have to install this Java, this particular version 8U151. Yeah, this really needs more memory. This is pretty slow. The drive is just sitting solid again. It's going to throw these errors, but it'll work anyways. Yep, this is really quite slow. I think it will throw one more error about the system being too old or something to work, and it would just click OK and it'll work anyways. say OK to, and everything should work fine anyways. Now this is taking probably 20 or 30 times longer than it took on the other unit. I suspect it'll still work, it's just going to take some time to get there. On the other unit, the progress bar was all screwed up like this as well, so I'm not concerned about that. There's the other end of the progress bar right there. It's actually moving along pretty quickly. Well, relatively speaking. Bearing in mind the system is probably close to 20 years old by now. Okay, so that's done. Now we can cancel that out. And now I believe that all we have to do is open this. So this is our installer of this program. Okay, I have to type in my login. I'm not going to show you that because it doesn't hide the password. just typed it in and pressed OK. Now I'm not sure if it's stuck because it's just taking a long time. I think it's saying that because it's taking too long, because it's still progressing, so we're going to press no. Yeah, it's definitely still working even though it said that. And it launched very quickly. Unblock that. So now, this is not working 100% correct. Oh, there it goes. So this is actually working. Now let's see how long it takes to start drawing in the music. It took a few seconds even on the other unit, so it might take an unreasonable amount of time on this one. Now it's doing a little bit of activity. There it goes. That wasn't too bad. Now this is a little bit more clunky because we have to select what we're searching for, but that's fine. That was quick. Let's try a particular song. Now we have to change it to search for tracks. Oh, I did it wrong. This is actually plenty fast. It's even got the lyrics. So now it's pegging the CPU 100%. Let's see if it'll go. It's definitely loading. It's sitting at 100% here, so it's doing something. It took maybe 2 or 3 seconds on the other machine to actually load up the song for the first time. And then after that, it was almost instantaneous. Okay, it's working. It's only taking a couple seconds per song now. Cool, so this is working pretty good. And it's not going crazy on the CPU anymore, so it just needed to sort itself out there. I don't know what this hot list is. Some of those are songs that I've played, some of them are not. I've never seen hot list before, I don't know what that is. Yeah, this is working properly. So now I want to go under here and I want to change this to high and it will close it. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. I pressed the wrong button. let's do a file exit, and let's relaunch it and see if it works. I'm going to ignore this because I think it's just taking a little bit longer than it's expecting. On the other unit, this would go real quick. I wonder if we didn't give it enough time. Sometimes it says that if the Java doesn't close, it will not rebuild. That's the only problem I've noticed. But normally you wouldn't open and shut it, so as long as it works the first time after a reboot, I mean, that's pretty much good enough. Yeah, see, I think... Did it stop? Let's do a reboot. Yeah, see, it's saying that even though it's still going to work, it's just taking longer than the program is expecting. There it goes. The only thing that's being a little dodgy right now is this is taking some time to expand these tabs here, but it eventually goes. So now it's at 320. This really is working pretty good. it's pretty fast too. Well, I'm quite content with this, and if this is going to work and work reliably, which only time will tell, then this will be the new solution for this setup until this program stops working or whatever. I don't know how often Spotify's backend changes, or when this might stop working, or if this is updated regularly, or how long this project will go for, etc. But while this is working, I am absolutely going to use it. I think this is fantastic. So we're back with the old Dell Dimension 3000 here at the music playing area, and I don't even think so that I'm going to bother to put more memory in the machine, because this little program seems to be working just fine on the 256. Although I do occasionally like to play videos from YouTube on here, which I will do through Superminium and MyPal, and so for those cases more memory would be beneficial. But if I find some memory, I'll throw it in there, but definitely not an urgency. So there we go, Spotify back on Windows XP in August of 2024. System from 2001, still going strong. Just a quick addendum to the video. I have used the program all evening, and now that I've had more time with it, there's two things I've discovered which are a problem. Number one is that when you shut it, it doesn't reopen. It only opens once per boot of the computer. That's not really a concern to me, because I don't use this computer for anything else. So there's no reason to be opening and closing it. Open after turning the computer on and it just stays open. That's totally fine. The other problem is, although it has playlists and it has the queue, they're not modifiable. It's a read only. So the playlists here are all here, and you can look at them all and you can play them all. However, you cannot, at least I can't figure out how to add songs. Curiously enough, there's a right click menu. Oh, I guess not here. Over here, copyright. You get a right click menu over here with two remove playlists, and if you click it, it does actually remove the playlist. Now if it removes on my account or not, I don't know, but it removes from here. But the playlist cannot be edited, added to, or removed from as far as the contents goes. And the same thing with the queue. The queue is just a relisting of whatever list you're already looking at. See all these songs here. If we go to here, it's the same thing. And again, we cannot add to this. Apparently you can remove it, which is interesting, but you can't add to it. So that's 95% of the time that's not a problem, because in my personal use case, I have no problem with building a playlist on the other computer and then coming to this one and playing it, because there's no computer chair at this station, so it's kind of like, it's not something that I spend a lot of time at. So that's fine for my personal use, but not having the queue is a bit of a problem, because I do use that when listening to music with other people on here. So we have to see what to do about that. I really would like to keep this computer here, this hardware, because the sound card is so much better than the other unit I had. The other unit, when you put the volume more than like half or 60%, you can hear it's not the greatest. It gets a little distorted and whatever. With this unit, it remains clean as can be up to 100%, and it's so much louder than the other machine. So this has a much better sound card, which I knew that. It's why I held on to this machine for so long in the first place. And that's certainly a huge weight in keeping this machine. And I would live without the playlists in the queue in trade of having the better quality. But it's going to be an issue not have that functionality. So I'm thinking what I might do is I might just set up one of those really small computers, like the micro form factor computers, and just keep it in the cables box here. And then on the occasions where we need the queue, I just take it out and plug it in instead, because that's not super often. That will only be a couple times a month, and I think having the better quality is worth dealing with that swap out every couple of weeks to use the queue for the evening. So that's that. In terms of memory, it's paging 322 megabytes, so I do think that we need to add more memory. It's only got 58 megabytes free, so we should definitely add more memory. This is using more memory than I thought. However, I believe the system recommendations are a minimum of 512, so it's running pretty much fine on half of that. Quite possibly also related to memory. Occasionally the songs will get choppy for the first couple seconds, and then the rest of it plays just fine. It's inconsistent. The times that it happens, it doesn't always do this, but the times that it happens is when selecting a different song. If you're just playing the list down through automatically, it never has a problem. When it starts to get choppy, it pegs the CPU to 100% for about 10 or 15 seconds. So I suspect it's downloading something. I'm just not quite sure what triggers that, because doesn't always do that. And I'm wondering if more memory would solve that problem. If it doesn't solve that problem, I do have another dimension. It's a 4600, I believe, and that has a 3.4 gigahertz Pentium D with several gigabytes of memory. It's a powerhouse compared to this machine, and so I suspect it wouldn't have any problems on there. Let's just see if it'll do it here. Oh, perfect. And see, now the CPU's at 100%. So I suspect what's happening right now is it's downloading the song. And now as soon as it stops, give it like 5 more seconds, it's going to stop. It's going to go back down to idle. And then it's going to play perfectly fine. Just a few more seconds here on this typically. Yep, okay, so now it's back down to idle. And it's playing fine. And now see, it was doing it again just for a second there. So it's doing it there, but then certain songs it doesn't do it, and maybe because they're cached, I don't know. So we got to let it kind of calm down here. Now, if we go to a playlist, it never seems to do that. I'm going to let it finish doing whatever it's doing, and I'm going to go through these songs and it won't do that. So I'm wondering if it caches what's in the playlist, and so it's not downloading it. I think what it's doing right now is it's downloading the songs I just tried to play. I think. I'm not certain how this works. Okay, so now it's stopped.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Perfect. Perfect. was fine too, even though it was sitting at 100%. Is that? Does it go to 100 when I play it? No, it's doing it for some other reason. So I think that this might be. I think that this thing might be pushing the boundaries of the system. And bearing in mind, do we say this was? This is a very, very low spec machine. I think it's a 2.6. Yeah, it's a 2.6 Celeron with only 256 megabytes of memory. So I'm going to try and add some more memory, and we'll see if that fixes it. But we might need to switch to the Dimension 4600 because the Celeron chip is just not that powerful, and I think that's what's going on here. But for the most part, it works fine. And when it's playing and you're not messing with it, it does go back down to idle. So I don't know. It's kind of a little dodgy, but I just think the concept is so cool, and the fact that it really does work pretty good. All the functions that are on here, it's missing the function of modifying the playlist, but all the functions that are there work, which is really cool. So we'll see. It's a great utility. I'm definitely going to be using it a lot, and I'm glad I discovered it. I'm just not sure that it's the best solution for this particular area. The other thing I thought of was I could also run a 3.5mm audio cable from this setup over to where the TV is and use the TV computer on the situations where I need the cue. That's an option too, because just unplugging one audio cable is certainly easier than swapping out the whole computer. So that's something to consider as well. But anyway, so that's that. Very, very cool program, and it definitely opens up a bunch of options that were previously not available. I don't know why this was working so poorly a couple of minutes ago when I was filming that segment, but I've just had it playing for a few minutes now, and now it's working perfectly. See, it only goes to 100 for a brief second. So I don't get it. I don't know what the difference is. I don't know why it was like that. This is typically how it was working all evening. It was working pretty good. So I don't know why I was doing that during the video there.
Easier not to be wise. Measure these things back.
So it really does work pretty good, even though in that segment I just filmed previously it was not working good. It generally does work pretty good.